All right, welcome to Old World Gaming. This is a little bit different than the normal videos I put out, but on Easter Bank Holiday Monday, um, me and some friends, my son, had a bit of a different foray into the old world in the form of Warhammer Quest. I love Warhammer Quest. It's one of my all-time favorite games. And Yeah, it was good fun to get it out and just have some fun. This is our second quest. So I had them over, I don't know, earlier on. Could have been, I think it was like January, and taught them how to play Warhammer Quest, and we just had so much fun. And We definitely had to do it again. So that's what we did. So I thought I took a few photos. I wasn't really planning on like doing any kind of, well, it's not really a battle report, adventure report. I don't even know what it's called when you do it for Quest. I wasn't really planning on doing a playback, but I thought, you know what, we had so much fun. We took some photos, and I thought you guys might wanna see how it went. Here's our adventurers. We've got Alfonso, the elf, Ivan the Brazen, the barbarian. We have got Gordok, who earned the moniker the Puppet Master, and I'll see if I remember to tell you why as we go through. And then we've got Thorgrim, the beardling prince of Karazakarak in his early days, when he was like testing his mettle and earning his stripes or whatever you call it, but proving himself in the dungeons of the old world with a party of companions. These are our characters that we used. So it was the adventure that we did was kill the shaman. We were sent on a quest to kill a shaman who was stirring up a war. So that was the objective, was to finish him off and take his body back to the Emperor to claim our reward and prove that he was dead. So there we go. So that was our objective. Needless to say, this place was full of goblins. Our first room was quite boring. There was nothing in there except for, actually, there was a trap. It was old bones. You can just about see the card in the top, and it was a trap which promptly zapped the dwarf, and we figured it's because he was wearing all the armor. But then the goblins jumped out on us with an unexpected event. And I mean, this is our second quest. We're all level 1 still. Our first quest, was just with all of the models you get in the box. So we just use everything in the box. For this game, I decided to use painted models because they look a bit better. So these goblins actually here, I have got an orc and goblin army in air quotes, which is essentially just made out of bad guys that I painted for Warhammer Quest. So you can see they're all in, like, they've all got dark bases. Some of them have got like tiles on because they're just my Warhammer Quest bad guys, basically. So I've got like 24 goblin archers, 24 spearmen, 24 orcs. I don't know, like 12 black orcs or something like that. And basically enough to do like level 1, level 2, maybe level 3 enemies for Warhammer Quest out of orcs and goblins, because I like to try and theme the dungeons where I can. So this is the event deck that we've got there. Is just all of the orc and goblin cards that you get in the event deck, with everything like Skaven and Minotaur and stuff taken out. And I've also, on a couple of the cards, I've written like 1 and 2 and 3. Well, 1 to 6. I don't know why 1 to 6. I think initially, no, I don't even know why. But I've got numbers scrawled on them, so we can just have like stats to the side, and it means I can reuse those cards for whatever I need to. So there's another couple of cards in there, but we'll see what they generate a bit later on as we go through. So that was our first enemy, was a bunch of goblins, and we managed to take them out without too much difficulty. And then the elf in our first battle, he got the pair of daggers. I can't remember what they're called, but the ones that just hit automatically but are only strength 1. So he managed to shiv a goblin, and then the wizard did a fireball. So the wizard, his starting spells. So if you haven't played Warhammer Quest before, your wizard always starts with 3 spells, 1 healing spell, 1 protection spell, I think it is, and 1 attack spell. And so he's got fireball. So he managed to fireball those. Now the other 2 spells he's got, I can't actually remember what his protection spell is because he never uses it. But he's got Healing Hands, which is the most broken spell in the game, and that's why he's got it, so that we can survive. Healing Hands. I'll quickly explain how magic works in Warhammer Quest if you're not familiar with it. But at the beginning of every turn, you roll a power dice, and that's just 1 to 6. If you roll a 1, then that's when monsters jump out at you. So the reason these goblins are here, so I've just gone back a couple of images. The reason these goblins are here is because the wizard rolled a 1 for his power dice, and that generated a random event. So every time you roll a 1, so there's a 1 in 6 chance of a random event happening. So he rolled a 1, and these goblins just like jumped out down from the ceiling or out from the cracks in the wall or wherever, and attacked us. Now, whatever power number he rolls on the dice at the beginning of the turn is how much power he has to cast magic during the turn, and 1 isn't enough to cast anything, so that means you're on sketchy ground. But our wizard started the game with 2 power tokens, which are 1 use power boosts you can use during the game. That was a really rubbish roll. When he generated his character, you roll a dice, and obviously that's 1 to 6, and he rolled a 2. So that was a bit lame, but he had 2 power dice, 2 power tokens, which gets us out of a jam. If we're stuck during the game, he can like boost it up. So if he rolls a 1, he can boost it up to a 2, and then get a Healing Hands off, which I'll tell you what that does in a minute. The other thing, he managed to pick up an Orb of Power, I think it's called, in our first game, which and he managed to roll a 6 for that to see how much power it contains. So the Orb of Power is a magic item. You roll a dice, and it gives you that much power, which are 1 use only powers, and once you've used them all, it's gone. So he's also got the Orb of Power, which is very convenient. So anyway, yes. So I was telling you what spells he has. He has Fireball, Healing Hands, and some other one that he never uses, which I can't remember what it does. So he fireballed the rest of the goblins, and with that we were done. So yeah, we felt rather pleased with ourselves because it didn't take too long, and he was very chuffed that he managed to fireball those guys because he loves using a good fireball. Okay, so I'm going to get my mouse out. So this was over here. We then jumped into this room expecting a whole bunch of bad guys, so we kind of spread out. The dwarf was like over here, the elf was here, the wizard stayed back there to like do some fireballing, and then the barbarian was here. And every time you go into one of these rooms, you draw an event card. Expecting monsters, we turned the event card over, and there was a cave-in, and so we had 1 turn to evacuate this room or we would die. It seals all the doors as well, because you can't then go back into this room. So the options were go back in and end the game, or try and make it through here. So we just had enough. The dwarf was there, and he just had enough to make it through. So we pegged it through this door before the room collapsed. So that then meant we couldn't head back, and so we had to definitely find another way out, or we were screwed basically. Thankfully, there was another exit that we found later on. So there we go. We just about avoided being crushed to death by the roof of that room as we walked through. Clearly we disturbed it or something, or the goblins set it off. Maybe it was just a trap. But as soon as we got through this side, the wizard rolled another 1. We were ambushed, this time by goblin archers who started shooting us. Now you've got, if you've ever played Blood Bowl, you'll understand that if you're next to someone, you have to try and make a dodge roll to move away from them. So here we were actually stuck in combat next to these two archers here, so we couldn't move into those spaces without making a dodge. And actually, saying that, the elf is unpinnable, so he can always move in. So I think he moved into this gap. We'll see in a minute. And you can do what's called a death blow, which is if you manage to kill this guy with one hit. Is he? Yeah, well, I'll have a look in a minute. Then your swing can carry on to the next guy. So if you get a good hit, you could swing and just like kill all the guys with one hit. Now, everyone, because we're all level 1 characters, we all start with one attack, basically. The barbarian can berserk if you roll. Basically, you have to roll a dice at the beginning of every combat to see if he goes berserk. And it starts off he needs a 6, but every time he kills a monster, his berserk gets 1 easier. But I can't remember where he was at that. He definitely, at some point during the game, injured the dwarf, because if you roll a 1 when you go berserk, you just injure everyone around you. So I think it was the dwarf. It could have been the elf, actually. It could have been here that he went berserk and hit the elf. But yeah, there we go. We dutifully charged into the fray and slaughtered as many goblins as we could, and obviously we ended up killing them all. There we go, you can see them all dying. Even the wizard managed to run in and crack one's skull open. In fact, the elf killed that one and the wizard killed that one. So yeah, there we go, and we killed them all. Then, okay, so this was a bit of a mistake. We are level 1 characters. We moved into here, and I'd put trolls into the event deck. And we looked it up, and you get two trolls against 4 characters. Except trolls are a level 3 monster. We were level 1, and as we were looking at the trolls, going, "Wait a minute, these guys have got 30 wounds. They've got like 5 toughness. They've got fear." Fear 6, which means you have to roll a 6 to not fear them, and if you fear them, you hit at -1. They've got 3 attacks each. They do 2d6 worth of damage to you, none of us have got more than like 11 health, I think. Obviously it's a bit different to Warhammer. If you've not played Warhammer Quest, I'd thoroughly recommend it. If you can get your hands on it, I think you can probably find PDFs online, and you can make dungeon tiles and stuff. In fact, you know what? I'm just going to quickly look up online. There is a Quest fan site. So I am definitely digressing right now, but this is important. Warhammer Quest Broheim is the one that I know anyway. You can see this. So here we go. So broheim.net Warhammer Quest HTML. So this has got card sets formatted for printing, so you can make your dungeon cards and stuff, treasure cards. So if you want to have a go at Warhammer Quest, you can use your normal miniatures and play Warhammer Quest. You just need to print out some stuff that you need, and you can make cards and this, I wonder, are there, I don't know if the rules, are these, so some of this, you'll notice it says like Dramatis Personae and Hired Swords. If you're a Mordheim fan, you'll recognise those. So this is a Mordheim website, primarily, for what I understand, but it also has Warhammer Quest, because Warhammer Quest is awesome. So have a look on here, and you may find, I'm not sure if the rulebook's on here. If not, you can find it online somewhere, I'm sure. So there we go. So one to check out if you're interested in playing Warhammer Quest. Anyway, digressed. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, trolls are stupidly hard. Oh, and they can regenerate, and they regenerate 2d6 worth of health every turn. Of their 30 wounds, they can regenerate 2d6 of them. So we swiftly changed our mind. Let's see, and was like, you know what? We might be able to take on one troll. So that was a quick little backtrack after we'd plunked them down, and then reading through the rules. We're like, actually, we might have bitten off more than we can chew. As it happened, as we were fighting the troll, so our first round of fighting, we basically got all of our best hits on on the troll, and we did like 12 damage to him out of his 30 wounds, and then he regenerated 11 of them. We were like, this is not going to go well. The troll immediately then downed the barbarian, and yeah, we're like, okay, so the barbarian has like, I can't, it's either 9 or 11 wounds, one of those two, and the troll's got 3 attacks. For every attack he successfully hits with, he does 2d6 wounds. So just literally paste him into ground. Thankfully, so remember I said Healing Hands is the most overpowered spell, or broken spell. Maybe it's not overpowered. It's certainly broken. Healing Hands costs 2 power for the wizard to cast, and it gives all the heroes on the board 1 wound. So he managed to. So the barbarian just stands up. So long as we've got 2 power by the end of the turn, we're more or less okay. So we just need to protect the wizard. Basically, that is our goal in life, is to protect the wizard. As long as we can protect the wizard, we will survive. So so he then got back up on 1 wound, but the troll next turn downed both of them. He took out the elf and the barbarian. Now the barbarian was only back up to, like, I think he was on 2 wounds, so it wasn't hard for him to take him out, but the elf hadn't been hurt, so the troll smashed both of those two. I thought I was particularly cunning, because I had a one shot only magic scroll that I found in a last game that was, I can't remember, it's a shield scroll of some kind, which means that you can only be hit if your opponent rolls a natural 6, and I was like, I'm going to use my shield spell scroll, and then I can't remember who was rolling for the troll, but they rolled like 2 6s. I was like, what did you do that for? And so yeah, so I was down as well. So the troll just like decked everyone. But yeah, thankfully the wizard just brought us back up. Right at the beginning of the combat, the wizard used a fireball on the troll, and we were like, you know what? In kind of like the Warhammer lore, in fact, I'm not sure it's strictly true in the old world now, but in a lot of editions of Warhammer, if you used fire on a troll, it couldn't regenerate. So we were like, well, now he's been hit with a fireball, he can't regenerate anymore. Because we were desperately worried that we were never going to kill this troll. We were just going to stand there hitting him and he'd just regenerate the entire time, which probably would have happened, because we are literally level 1 characters and he's a level 3 troll. So yeah, so we stopped and regenerate, and you can see we're managing to pile the wounds on. What's that? 15 wounds. So we're halfway there at this point, but it has taken us a long time. And so we are slogging it out. Oh, and the troll's got vomit as well every turn. So he's got his 3 attacks plus a vomit attack. Every turn he gets to vomit on someone. And if they've got a piece of armor, it destroys their armor, and we're just like freaking out, hoping he doesn't destroy our armor. Thankfully, he missed with all of his vomit attacks. But it was pretty sketchy, because none of us wanted to lose any armor like early on in our questing. But there we are. Finally, we managed to down him, and we split the winnings. Basically, everything you kill in Warhammer Quest. Apologies for people who've seen who played Quest and know all about Quest, but for people who don't, every time you kill a monster in Warhammer Quest, you get gold. And that gold can then be spent at the end of your adventure if you go back to a village or a town or something, to pay for training and level up, or buy some equipment. So we decided to split the proceeds. Normally you get the gold for what you kill, but we kind of were like, you know what, that was a massive team effort, we are sharing out all that gold. So we did so. So there we go, much rejoicing was had after we killed the troll. And then we moved into the next room, which happened to be the final room. So you can see the shaman down here, next to this kind of idol of doom, or whatever it's called. The idol chamber is in here. But as we kick down the door, we're immediately confronted by a whole horde of Blackhawks, the shaman with a retinue of archers, and in front of this Blackhawk here, you can't see him, but there is a goblin boss. And the goblin boss had a magic sword which was -1 to hit, and because it kind of made him shimmer, it also gave him +1 toughness, or the effect was kind of +1 toughness. So Black Orcs are solid. They've got shed loads of armor, and they've got 7 wounds each. A goblin has got like 2 wounds. Yeah, Black Orcs are so much harder. So this was a real slog, and you can see the dwarf, Thorgrim and Ivan, just there, spending ages to hack these Black Orcs down, because we were doing like 2 or 3 wounds a turn, and each of these guys have got 7 wounds. It was hard going. The elf was picking off these guys at the back. In fact, I think on the yeah, here we go. So there you go. There's the boss, the goblin boss there, and obviously you've got the barbarian and the dwarf hacking these Black Orcs. But the elf standing at the back managed to snipe out the wizard. The wizard, what did he do? He did a spell, and it was I can't remember what it did, but it did loads of damage. Oh, it was Fists of Gork. Yes, he used Fists of Gork, and just like smashed. I can't remember if it's the dwarf or the barbarian, but just in one turn took him out, and we were like, oh, this is bad. So the elf was like, don't worry lads, I've got him. We also said that the elf could dip his arrows in the troll acid that was in the realm, which gave it an extra 2 strength as well. So that was a fun little kind of roleplay addition there. He also managed to snipe out the goblin boss as well, so he took those out. So the dwarf actually went home with mega bucks, because they were worth the most cash out of this lot, and then he carried on sniping all the archers for us. The wizard managed to get off a couple of fireballs, but most of the time was busy healing us, because as long as we were there, our corpses, our bodies, blocked the entrance, and this is why the wizard earned the nickname the Puppet Master, because we're just like he's just essentially pulling us up with magic and animating us so that we can carry on fighting, and we're just like, no, please let us die, it hurts, the pain. So it was loads of fun. We managed to kill everyone. We took the goblin back to the emperor, and were handsomely rewarded with 250 gold each. So that was good fun. And then my son took a couple of vanity shots of our warband just because he enjoyed them. And then those guys are in focus as well now. So there we go. That was loads of fun. We then headed back to we're only going to a village because we just need some training. We basically can't afford anything except some training. We managed to level up the elf, the barbarian, and the wizard. The dwarf, meanwhile, whilst they were training, got into trouble a lot in town. So basically, when you go to a village or a town or city or whatever, every day that you're there, you have to pay living expenses, and you have to see what events happen during the day, and you can go to various locations in town. So while these 3 went off training, it takes a week of training, and then all their board is paid for, and they don't have any unexpected events. While they were training, the dwarf, he went looking for a rope. In our first quest, the wizard got stuck down a pit. Now, thankfully, we did have a rope, and we thought we broke it because we thought it was 1 use only. But actually, when we looked at the rules, it only breaks on, I don't know, like a 1 or a 2 or something. I can't really remember. But we're like, we need to get another rope because we do not want to be stuck with just a single rope. So the dwarf, first day, the dwarf went off looking for a rope, and the general store was like, no, we ain't got no rope. So there was no rope in that village, so we couldn't buy any more rope. But it's all right because we do have one. And then he spent the rest of the time going to the pub, basically arm wrestling. He met a Norscan warrior who taught him how to rub grease fat all over himself so that he can do like 1 auto dodge per dungeon. So that's quite good. And nothing else particularly useful, I don't think. Oh, he did some gambling and lost loads of money, which was very disappointing. But there we are. Yeah, that was about it. He tried to stop a bull that was running through the street and just got flattened. I can't remember what else he did, but he ended up in a ditch outside the village, waiting for them to finish training. So he got into so much trouble. But yeah, so there we go. So that was how we ended it. Those guys managed to level up, got some new stats, new skills, and we're ready for our next adventure. Hopefully, we'll get enough to level up the dwarf next time. But yeah, it was good fun. It's just awesome to get Warhammer Quest out again. It is like one of my all-time favorite games, and it's good to have some friends to play it with as well. I'm pleased that they enjoyed it, because I mean, Warhammer's a kind of new thing to them as well, so they've not really. One of them has actually played it with me a couple of times before, but none of them have got their own stuff. But yeah, we just had lots of fun, lots of laughing, and yeah, it's just really good. So if you do get the chance to play Warhammer Quest, definitely do it. If you can pick them up off eBay. They are not cheap, but then games in general are quite expensive these days anyway. So yeah, I haven't looked. I bought mine years ago. But like I say, if you check out broheim.net, they've got Warhammer Quest stuff on there. You may be able to find a PDF of the rules, whether there or somewhere else. But yes, there we go. I just thought I'd share that with you. A bit different, but it's kind of old world related. I mean, this is all set in the old world, uses old world miniatures, so definitely something that you can do if you can get hold of the rules, and make up some cards, dungeon tiles if you don't have any already. But yeah, all right. Hopefully that was interesting. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.